Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Chris here, CJ here, I should say, along with Eris, aka GJ Sue, and we're here to talk about quite possibly probably one of the best racing drama movies, Ford versus Ferrari, directed by the great James Mangold, starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale and John Bernthal, and me and Eris had a fun time with this movie. For as long as this movie was about 152 minutes, so that's like what, 2.5 hours?
It was about
You
2 hours.
don't. Oh, go ahead.
I said it was about 2 hours and some change. What were you about to say?
You don't feel that 2.5 hours.
You don't feel the 2.5 hours, but you definitely felt the $97.6 million budget that went into this movie.
Bruh, let me tell you. Okay, so in the history of us doing the 3BG podcast and stuff, I think we've talked briefly, about Days of Thunder and a lot of other movies. I think I talked at length about Rush. Rush was the Chris Hemsworth movie about the kart racing. And that was actually a really good movie. That was also another movie based off of a real life story about these European kart racers and stuff. But what I enjoyed, and me and you, I would say, okay, me and you, when it comes to cars, I will probably lean you a little bit more than me in terms of more in depth on the intricacies of like the car world. Like I know stuff because of my dad and me and him go to car shows, but I think you lean more into like the details and like technicality stuff of it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, but because it was a couple of times like I remember stuff about like the Le Mans, for instance, like only because again I had a Dreamcast. I got a Dreamcast a couple of years after you, and I played Test Drive Le Mans, and I didn't know about the Le Mans until that game, and I didn't know there was a 24-hour race, and I was like, holy shit, that's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole movie is following Ford. Ford in this movie, Henry Ford's son has the Ford company is basically at a point where they ain't really putting anything out that's worth a damn to the American people at this point.
Especially at one point when they announced the Mustang.
Well, that was Shelby that announced the Mustang. Oh.
No. I'm talking about in the movie. In the movie,
was it Shelby that announced the Mustang, or was that Ford Mustang?
No, it wasn't the Shelby Mustang. No,
okay,
it wasn't.
Okay.
No,
I
was
was getting confused. 'Cause I know Shelby was a separate company before they kind of integrated with Ford. So that's what kind of had me confused a little bit.
No, see what Shelby did was they took the Mustang and made it better.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Which by introducing it as the Cobra, which of course later on
the Shelby GT.
Well, not even just the Shelby GT. Later on, actually before the GT, there was the Super Snake.
Yeah.
And then came the GT 300 came along, and that right there became like the face of like top of the line Ford Mustangs.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about this movie is that like they off the break show like the behind the scenes of like where the company was at, because we hear about Ford, we hear about them being a successful company, but what I appreciate about the movie is that they show the fact that at one point Ford was at like a crossroads of like, hey, is the American people really feeling our products like that?
Mm-hmm.
This is like it was like, was it 1965, 66, I believe?
It was 63.
Yeah, 63. So it's like, is the American people really feeling our product like that? And they off the break show like, yo, Henry Ford was like, yo, I'm going to lay all of you off because clearly we're not doing good business-wise. And what started this is, you might as well say this rivalry between Ford versus Ferrari, and I'm going to ask you if you agree with this. Do you feel it kind of started from a place of pettiness?
Yeah, but we really got to take ourselves back to the 1960s. Now, of course, we weren't even thought of, but when you put yourself in the mindset of how businessmen work in the 60s, it ain't no joke. Especially when one company is looking to purchase another company.
Oh yeah, and can you imagine? Let's go with the scenario here. Can you imagine if that agreement between Ford and Ferrari actually went through, what would happen today? Can you imagine?
Boy, if Ford and Ferrari...
I don't think Ferrari would be what it is today if they integrated with Ford. I don't even think Ford would be... Like, I don't know. It's just like what's wild to me is like knowing and to the movie's credit, it follows like beat for beat what the history is. There's no like they don't like extrapolate like the history of what fucking happened. Like every shit happened the way it fucking happened. I don't know whether it was you or D that said that y'all actually looked up the history of this, but like the movie actually follows like everything that fucking happened between this rivalry between the two companies.
Yeah, they did. And from like for what I saw, like the whole thing started out with the Le Mans race. Like, and this was Carroll's last time running. Like he won Le Mans back in '59.
But he had heart problems basically.
Yeah, because of his heart condition, he was forced to retire.
Which for those that don't know, so the Le Mans race is 24/7 and you do tag out with other people, but it does put a lot of like pressure on your body. Like it's an endurance trial easily.
Oh, it is.
Huge endurance route. Like you might think in your head, oh, I could do that, race, but you have to imagine you're racing the same course for like maybe 8 hours at a time, maybe 4 hours at a time. I don't know how long you're racing for. And it's like, that's an endurance trial in and of itself. Like, and the thing is playing a video game, like I remember playing a video game and it felt like such a tedious nonsense. I have to imagine actually racing it is like tedious as shit.
It's not even just the fact that you got to run that race. It's the course itself, which is even more of a task because like at some point in the movie, Carroll describes what it's like to race on the Le Mans. And it ain't, this ain't just running, this ain't just driving. Yeah, it ain't NASCAR. You ain't driving to the left like, you're not going to the left 4 times in a row. Yeah. You're not doing that. Instead with this race, you are literally on a road. There's a part where it's complete. Yeah, you got bumps, you got bad roads, you have really bad road conditions. It could rain. Yeah. There's like one long stretch where there's no light and there's a sharp turn, and there's a lot of stuff that comes into play.
And you think about this too. You're at a point where it's such an endurance. You have to think like, okay, brakes. That's the funny thing about this movie is that I don't know if I nudged you during the movie. I was like, they're really emphasizing a lot about brakes in this movie.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's like you're racing this race. There's a lot of twists and turns and you have to concern yourself about, okay, how hard am I braking? How I'm going to make this turn? Like you said, there's a straightaway where there's no lights. And it's kind of shocking that they didn't add the element of what happens if animals cross the road. I don't know. I mean...
Well, unlike America, I would say that the Le Mans pretty much has that under wraps, sort of, like so to speak.
I mean, but like I can legit say this is like quite possibly the best like racing dramatic movie like ever, straight up.
It's definitely one of the best ones I've watched. I mean, for a movie this long, there's so many parts in it that I felt like, I wasn't even around when this, during this time of the building and the construction and development of the Ford GT. The GT40. But God, just seeing the look on Henry Ford's son's face when he got in the car,
he cried. I mean, just like my dad would be so proud of this. It's like,
my man was like, I wish that my dad was alive today so that he could experience this.
Oh man, it's so great. So just before we get into this review, we're not going to spoil it and stuff. It's not to really spoil because it's just more like you have to really watch it to experience it. I really think that this is one of those movies, if you see in IMAX, that racing scene, all the racing scenes, period, even the NASCAR racing scenes, you'll get the full blunt of it. It's kind of like Days of Thunder. Like, as much as that movie was like a Tom Cruise circle jerk, I do appreciate Days of Thunder in the NASCAR scenes because it made you feel involved. And I think we talked about it. I think I talked about it briefly, like when you go to King's Dominion when they had the Days of Thunder ride. That experience of like feeling as though you're in the race. Like Ford versus Ferrari nails that aspect of it.
Right.
And like, so basically it's two characters. Henry Ford, well, he's not really the main character, but he's like the catalyst for everything. So what you have is Carroll Shelby, that's Matt Damon. Like Sue said, he's won Le Mans before, but he's had like health problems, mainly with his heart, to where he won't be able to race. And he's kind of like through the course of, I would say, half of the movie, he's kind of struggling with like falling back and letting somebody else kind of like be the person to race for his company, because he really has that itch a little bit. And then you have Ken Miles, who is this British like war veteran.
Yeah, World War II vet and struggling mechanic.
Yeah, he's a mechanic who he's doing his job, but they make an emphasis of the fact that there are a lot of people who basically have been fucking him in terms of paying him money, and his shop gets shut down. And what ends up happening is Shelby presents him an opportunity. Like he's also been racing on the side for, I believe, Shelby. Mm-hmm. And while it's giving him notoriety and stuff, it's giving him a little bit of money, but it's not enough to keep his shop open. And basically, this opportunity that's coming upon him by Shelby for this GT40 is giving him an opportunity to open his shop back up and really give him some notoriety. And what I like about this movie is like Kim Miles' wife, like
probably the probably one of the best wives in movies.
Yeah. Was it Catriona Balfe? She does a really good job. Like she really supports her husband. Like she knows, and it's kind of like the first time I've seen this in a movie where like the wife knows like her husband wants to do something he really loves, and she supports it, and she's pissed that he's not like pushing himself to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like especially when, you know, like when you have a wife who knows you better than you know yourself, and when you try to go, you know what, I'm just going to go to the right. I know what's on the left is something that I really want to do, and yeah, the opportunity's there for me, but no, it's time for me to just hang it up and and go to the right, you know, basically put my passions out to pasture. Your wife
to be a family man,
to be a family man, so to speak. Meanwhile, your wife is just standing there. She's giving you the death stare, the most disapproving stare, and you don't notice, but she, in her back pocket, she's pulling out a revolver. Like, if you don't go back to the left, you know that this is what you want to do. Stop BSing and do it.
And you know what? I would say this: if she doesn't get a Best Supporting nod for that role in this movie, I'll be a little bit disappointed.
I would be too.
Because there's a point in the movie where she's really encouraging, like, "Yo, I know this is what you want to do. I support it. I understand. Do it." And I mean, I think that's great. And granted, I'm pretty sure that's how it was in real life. But like, that's kind of like the first time I've actually seen that in like a movie like this. Where, and it's not to say that most women that's a relationship with the lead character don't want them to be there, go to their passion. There's always that trepidation of like, oh, I worry about you and blah blah blah. But like, I like that she was like the wife, like, look, I know this is what you love to do. You are happy as shit when you do this. Like, do it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Go for it. You know. And I thought that was actually pretty great and stuff. But like, past that, like, I like the backstory of like, we see what happened with the Ford company. Like, you have John Bernthal playing, Lee Iacocca, and he's like the vice president of Ford, where he's like, all right, he's the guy that's kind of like the buffer between Shelby and Henry Ford II, and also dude that was being a dick.
That guy. Oh God, who was it?
The dude that was kind of like, yo, I don't like Ken Miles, so fuck him, get him out of here, kind of dude. Josh Lucas. Josh Lucas played Leo Beebe, and he was kind of like the company guy that was like, yo, I don't like Ken Miles, because Ken Miles, he loves racing, but he has a bit of kind of like, yo, do as I say.
Yeah, he's got a hot temper.
Yeah, he has a hot temper, which is understandable to an extent, because in his head, he's like, yo, I just want to race. Like, why are you like fucking me over here? I just want to race. Let me race. You know, like the guy he's yelling at the beginning of the movie, like, yo, you're really complaining about like the what was it?
So you're really complaining about? Trunk. Yeah, you're complaining about the trunk.
The trunk can't close. Really? Okay. All right, bet. You know.
You know what? If that situation was today, I guarantee you, he would have said that. I bet.
You know what's crazy too is that like this movie was like in the planning stage for a while. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt were in the running to play in the roles. And the funny thing is, I could see Brad Pitt playing Carroll Shelby and Tom Cruise playing Kim Miles.
I could. Yeah, I could see that too.
I was thinking in the reverse, but I was like, nah, because like I don't know. It's like Matt Damon plays Kel Shelby. Oh wow, I say Shelby.
Like Carol Shelby.
Shelby's so great. Like he really does support. Like him and Ken, you could tell they're friends. Clearly,
Yeah.
like he knows. Like, hey, I know my boy has a hot temper, but like, yo, he can race. Just let it go, please. You know?
I mean, those two were the embodiment of friendship goals.
Oh, it was bromance. Like
bromance, best friend goals. because you gotta think about it. When somebody is willing to go at bat for you, like for your own friend, especially in one particular part, and this ain't even a spoiler. This is straight up history. When Shelby was willing to put his entire company on the line
for a
NASCAR race. He said, I mean, he told the president, he told Henry Ford II, like, look, if he runs, like, I want you to put him in the race. If he loses, Carol Shelby, like, look, you can own Shelby Incorporated 100%. It's yours. When the man is that serious, you put that man in the race, because when you tried to go around him and put somebody else in the race, you guys lost horribly.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the movie does a great job of really emphasizing these different things instead of like most movies where it's like, oh, montage, and then he's like, you know, we cut to a scene where he's like pissed off, like, you should have put me in. It's like, no, they actually show like him listening to the race and be like, yep, they're gonna the brake pads, and again, like I said earlier, they really emphasize the technicalities of running the Le Mans race. Of like, and they run through it, like, and to the movie's credit, they show the full process, and I think that's what kind of makes it greater than a lot of movies. They show the full process. They don't montage it. It's like, yo, they show it through him testing all the vehicles, and you realize Ken is so technical in knowing, okay, we gotta do this. This is why the car isn't running this way. You know, here's how we can run it that way. And Shelby's like, all right, bet, we'll do this. And I like how they show them drawing up schematics of how to make the car lighter, how to make the engine better and stuff. And through the process, you also see Ken's son, I think it was Noah Jupe.
Yeah.
His son is also kind of like, you can kind of see like he's really loving like, oh my God, my dad's a racer. And I like how his relationship with his dad is just like, how, you know, regular kid is like, your dad's a racer, you fucking lose your goddamn mind. You know, he's excited. You know? So, I mean, the movie just, I really love this movie just top to bottom. Straight up.
I mean, now I want to talk about it from like from a production standpoint. Shot incredibly well.
Oh, the racing scenes were like dope as shit.
Not even just the racing scenes. I'm talking from the racing scenes to just regular shots, like a whole bunch of establishing shots that were really, really good. The cinematographer, again, I tip my hat to you. Very, very well.
Faden Papa Michael.
Yes. I really need to see more. I want to see more films that he shot, actually.
Because he did Huntsman, Winter War. He did This Is 40, Night and Day, Descendants, 3 to the Yuma. That's another Manigault movie that he did. That's a really good movie. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I need to check that one out.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Christian Bale's in that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Russell Crowe and Russell Crowe and Christian Bale are in that movie. It's a really damn good movie. But yeah, that's another one that you'll love because of the cinematography too, because that's like Old West kind of thing. They capture that like that time period and stuff, and that's a good thing about this movie too. He really captures that time period of the 1960s.
Yeah. And I do believe that for the near $100 million budget that this movie went into, good Lord, the cars. I'm pretty
sure they went through a lot of cars.
The cars were beautiful, man.
Yeah, I never knew, like, that was my thing. Like, I knew of the Ford GT, but I never knew the history of the GT. So seeing that GT40 and just, I mean, hell, look. I'm a person that, like, I played Gran Turismo since the first game, and I love, like, driving simulation games because I like cars and stuff. So, like, seeing the way this movie portrayed those type of cars, it was just like, oh, my God, it's like Kid in a Candy Shop. Like, just seeing all the races, seeing how they're doing it. Even when the cars crash, you're kind of wincing, like, ooh, damn.
Yeah, but of course, from what I've learned in the Fast and Furious movies is anytime you see a car crash, those were all the stunt cars. The hero car almost never gets touched.
Still, man.
Yeah, but but then you think about how they construct the hero. I mean, not the hero, the stunt cars. A lot of the stunt cars are like, they're made to look exactly like the hero car.
Yeah.
But they're just cheaper.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're a cheaper car compared to the hero car. And when I look back on how a lot of the crashes took place in this movie, I'm like, good God. Like these, again, the crashes, again, they're shot very well, but God, I'm with you. You kind of wince, especially when you see a beautiful car go through a crash. I'm like, oh no.
Like the first race of the Le Mans race, like, dude, homeboy gets in an accident off rip, and I'm like, holy shit, and I think that's to the credit of the way the visuals and the way the cinematography is. They show you the brutality of the car crash. They show you the brutalities of like when a car is set on fire. They show everything across the board. Like, they do not pull any punches on that shit.
And the one thing I was definitely happy to see was was Carroll Shelby's his actual GT, was it his GT Cobra?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not his GT, his AC Cobra, his 65 AC Cobra, the 427.
Yeah.
Seeing that car in the movie, I'm like, man, I love the AC Cobra. Like, everybody talks about how amazing, all the GT, like the, was it Shelby Cobras and stuff that's out now, like basically the Mustang versions. Yeah. I'm like, no. I love the British model AC Cobra.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is one of those movies I could take my dad to and he'll probably enjoy it because, like, this is one of those movies that's like for car enthusiasts easily. I mean, regular person can watch it, but like if you're a car enthusiast, you'll appreciate like I said, the movie hits you from top to bottom. Like I said, they give you the company, perspective of it and what they had to sit there and deal with and stuff in terms of, and even you get it from Ferrari's perspective of like, and if you know anything about cars, you know the history of Ferrari to an extent of like, oh, we already know they're not going to get with Ford, but we saw how they hooked up with, what was that company?
Fiat.
Yeah, Fiat. Which today, they're hooked up with Fiat now.
And it's so funny because it's very true about what Enzo Ferrari was doing. Like, he spent that whole time chasing perfection and went broke in the process.
Yeah, which he needed to be with Fiat in order to actually
just to sustain the company.
Yeah, which I didn't know until this movie, and I was like, wow, I thought Ferrari was always like profitable. I never knew that he went broke because of that.
No, because that was the problem with a lot of Ferraris. Like, a lot of Ferraris, like back in the day, like you had to be someone who had like a very high five-figure income.
Yeah.
See, I'm not gonna say six figures. Like, you had to have like a very good 5-figure income job just to own one. And then the problem with owning a Ferrari is owning a Ferrari. The maintenance behind that.
Nobody buys a Ferrari just out the break. Like, hey, honey, I got a Ferrari. That's my regular driver to work. Like, come on.
Got a raise at work. I'm gonna go pick up a Ferrari.
Can you imagine that's your regular drive, and like, dude, that afternoon commute leaving, bitch.
No. I can't do it.
Open it up. This is bullshit.
But then when you got money like that, when you got money to blow, you don't care. You would have one of these supercars.
I don't know how anybody can have a Ferrari in LA. I'm sorry, LA traffic is worse than DC. I don't care what anybody fucking tells me.
Please, a Ferrari in LA, that's nothing. Try seeing a team. Dude, try seeing.
Open it up a little bit.
Nah, man. Try seeing a team of Lambos in Tokyo.
I mean, is traffic bad in Tokyo?
Traffic is ridiculous when you're trying to drive through the city. It gets ridiculous.
It's one of those weekend cars.
It is. And I'm talking about a weekend car that never sees the city. I would never take that car and have it.
That's one of those. I'm going down North Carolina on open highway, just opening it up, just
Yeah, I need road to open up a car
or go
like
to
that.
Philly or something, something.
Yeah, I mean, all that horsepower, I need something to open it up. Give me a nice long road to open it.
Yeah, and like I said, they really show like Shelby. There's a couple of times where like his way of driving, he literally almost gets into wrecks and stuff. People stopping and beeping their horn and stuff like that. But like I said, I mean, he owns a fucking Cobra. Like, come on, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man, this movie was fucking phenomenal. It was really eye opening, and like I said, just the seeing. I think more than anything, what makes the movie good, even from top to bottom, is seeing that camaraderie between Carol and Ken and their friendship and their relationship kind of evolve over the course of the movie. Because I mean, both of them are clearly friends, but they clearly go through their own personal trials and tribulations over the course of the film. So
they do.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely recommend go seeing this movie. It's worth your time. Hugely worth your time.
Oh, absolutely.
I could see a lot of them getting a lot of nominations because of this movie easily. So yeah. But yeah. You got any final thoughts on this film?
Only thing, again, just to repeat what you said, please go see this movie while it's out. The movie is amazing. I enjoyed it very much. In fact, if I can find a proper IMAX theater, I will go see it again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said again, for it to be in 2.5 hours, you do not feel that 2.5 hours at all. That's not even a joke.
You go through it real quick.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, yeah, with that in mind, go see Ferrari. Catch you guys later. Peace out.
Sweet.